There's tiny, 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 almost microscopic perforated holes inside this foam, of which light is, of course, filtering through the crevices of that foam. But you're not making out objects in a...
False, Alec. False. You can see through the freaking foam. I'm pretty sure Edith even admits that. It's not just light coming through. You can actually read. I can do it myself. If you would just spend a few minutes with the mask, like actually trying to see through the foam, you could figure this out too. The reason you're not is because you people are so attached to this idea that you don't want to look too closely at what we're bringing up. But you have to, because you are calling yourself a truther and you're putting on a show and putting this in front of people. So welcome to the scrutiny that you yourself could not and are still choosing not to do. You can see through the foam, as anybody can tell. This isn't crazy. We don't have to go to Antarctica. We buy a $20 mask. Anyone can verify everything I'm saying. This is silly. And Edith, bless her heart, is the last person that's going to come to terms with this. She's told her child for 5 years that he can see through, he has this magical ability. She's created an identity around it. She's getting all these accolades. She's getting put on the premier stages of the, conspiracy truther world. And she's making probably decent money with it. So it's incumbent upon the podcast hosts, and if they're not doing it, then people like you and me, to call this out. I thought this was the cutting edge of the truth movement, and in my opinion, we should have high standards for what we are promoting and vouching for. Like, where's Tom Cowan? That brain, that skepticism, that questioning thing. I haven't seen him talk about this. I haven't seen Andy Kaufman talk about this, or Amanda Vollmer, or a lot of people. It's sad because that's the whole, that's what we unified behind, was being the truth seekers that were willing to be the, stand up, to scrutinize things. If we're trying to flip the whole medical paradigm, expose it as being a lie, that's a pretty big deal. That's like, if we can succeed in that, that we can all die knowing that we contributed something super meaningful to this world. That it's its own monumental task. Here's a kid reading with this 8 years ago. Why does Edith and Dahlia and all these people, why are they spinning this story like this is the cutting edge? We're about to, activate our full human potential and take off into the new world. This is the Blindfold. Okay, this is it. There is foam all along here to keep it off your face, like a good, 3/4 of an inch of foam. They talk about the pinholes opening up. People, the pinholes are the foam. You're seeing through the foam. They're pretending like, to see through the blindfold you have to cheat or really shift things. That's not true. Do you know how long it took to activate my child? About, 1 minute, 2 minutes. She literally relaxed, had her do a few relaxation eye exercises, and then poof, you can see. If you want to teach your kid blindfold vision, buy one of these $20 Blindfold masks. Ask them to put it on and tell them to basically relax their eyes for a minute or two, and then little windows should start opening up. And if you smile, which they tell you to do, guess what happens? Especially for kids. Imagine, kids have an easier time because their faces are smaller. This mask is not designed for a kid. People have been falsifying the idea that these kids are reading through these masks for 10 years or longer. Every time they try and use a control mask, they try and, scientifically, take out any factors that could be affecting things, it doesn't work. Surprise! If they had been doing this 10 years ago, why would this have not just gradually taken the world by storm, people? Think about it. Everyone's on board with this idea that it doesn't don't worry about the training wheels, the training mask. Like, don't look at that too much. It doesn't really matter because eventually they're going to have these crazy abilities. I do not agree with that. I think that people have imagined abilities and cherry-picked times when people were right and stretched the truth here and there. It's not okay to be lying to ourselves and the kids because we think it's going to activate something. So this woman, participant in the program with her child, and me and her became friends because I started speaking up and then she started questioning things, and she kept experimenting with the mask. I just gave up immediately. I was like, this is ridiculous. She kept playing around with it, and look at what she did. She was able to see behind her head. There were people in the group who immediately thought that she had access to this magical power, and she revealed that she was just simply looking behind her. Basically, like she's seeing through the mask. That's how it's being done. The mask is see-through. That's the foundation of this entire program, is that mask. If you question that, forget about building all the rest of this stuff on top of that. You have a fault, you have a problem at the base level. This piece is nuts to me. So, and this is, Alpha Vedic just allowed her to put this on their channel yesterday. Look, when a skeptics come and they don't agree or believe in what you're putting out there, your stories, and they get angry because they perceive it as being dishonest in a truther community, you can't just say, oh, you're not vibrating at a high enough frequency to get it. You're not in the flow state. That's why you don't get it. Don't get stuck in anger and fear and apathy. This is ridiculous, Edith. Acting like the skeptics are spiritually inferior.
Where if you're someone who claims to be open-minded, but then is outright denying that this is possible, referring to people as delusional, saying it's all peaking, that's teetering on becoming completely closed-minded and skeptical.
I'm not closed-minded. I came into the program, I signed up and paid myself, and then I realized that you could see through the foam. And then I brought it to your attention and others, and you pretended like that didn't really matter because you've seen X, Y, and Z. They're seeing through the foam. Even when they're looking behind them, you act like, skepticism is only acceptable if you at least leave some room for us to play. No, actually. If they're seeing through the blindfolds, then this thing is false and you've portrayed it. You've deceived people. There is no my direct experience about this. I'm angry, Edith, not because I'm vibrating at a low frequency, but because I thought I was surrounded by people who were honest, who were able to admit when they're wrong, take in new information, and I'm finding out that's just not the case.